Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. So today we're doing a full machine polish on this car. So this is a Hyundai I20n. Actually, it's locked, isn't it? You got the keys, Mike? Yeah. Now these are great little cars. Great little cars. I think they're about 210 brake horsepower, correct me in the comments, and turbocharged engines. They sound lovely whenever you hear these going past. They've got a nice little roar to them, and the colour is great. I'm not sure what it's called, but this is like the iconic colour for this car, and if I had one of these I would pick this colour as well. It's a real light baby blue. Now I want to talk about the paintwork on these. Hyundai paint, from what I've seen with the ones in the studio, has been very, very good, and this car is no exception. Actually, the paint from factory is really good. It's just what you want. It's a brand new car, this is. It's a brand new car, so there's a little bit of orange peel in the paint, which is absolutely fine, but for whatever reason the paint hasn't been, like, you know, washed at the dealership and scratched up, and the car's come as you would want it. It's had its pre-wash, it's had its pre-inspection, you know, just to make sure. And the only things that the Fresh Lads guys found, which I think they've told the customer about. The customer, his name is Dave. Dave, I know you're a follower of the channel, mate. We're going to take care of this car, don't worry. There's only really two things on the car that just need a bit of attention. I'm going to bring you in here. It looks like it's probably been through some sort of refinishing process, and this, where they've painted and probably masked off to refinish something that wasn't right, there is paint that has gone into the gap on the plastics, so we're going to try and get that out, and that isn't going to be too difficult actually. You can see it there. So we're going to try and get all of that paint out. We'll get some tools on there, some little scraper tools, and just get that out, because you don't want that. And the only other thing is that looks like a dust speck or something in the paint there. You have to be careful with that, because it'll have all been painted, clear coated, and if you try and take that off you're going to break the clear coat, but we might do something about that. Might just knock that down. Apart from that, yeah, Martin's got the correct scraper tool there. That's going to help just get that out. Apart from that, we think we've got good paint here, don't we, Martin? We were talking about it earlier on.
I mean, this is the second. We had a Hyundai N130 that you did a little review on, and the paint on that was phenomenal. And
it's flawless, yeah.
This is really good. I mean, this puts some of the big players to shame.
It does, yeah.
You know,
does.
As you know, we get a lot of high-end cars in here, and Hyundai have, well, they've blown me away really, because their paint is fantastic.
It's when you got
for the value of the car.
Yeah, when you got the car under lights, you can see prep marks in certain makes. We were looking at another brand that I won't talk about, and when you had it under the light, you could see the DA marks in the paint. You could see refinishing. You could see sanding marks where they've done little corrections and then painted on top of that. And you can't do anything about it when it's under the paint.
Yeah, pigtails. You know, we see it all. But this, I mean, really, you know, you've got to remember this is a £25,000 sports car on the road, and the paint is...
It's good. You've got orange peel, but you're supposed to have orange peel.
And to be fair, most cars do now. You know, and
you'd be crazy to try and take out the peel.
Yeah.
You just want to leave as much clear coat as you can, gloss it up. So we haven't even got to use heavy compounds or anything. This detail really is all about just glossing the car up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the customer has requested that we use Fusso coat. So I've got 2 tins of the old original formula, which last a bit longer, so we're using those. A little piece on light or dark Fusso coat, because people are quite worried, you know, should I use the dark one, should I use the light one, what's the difference? Well, I'll direct you in the description to a link from Soft 99 that explains the difference between these two waxes. There are some slight formulation differences. This one is more, I think, has some more fillers in it to try and fill swirls, because on black paint you tend to get that hazing from fine swirling, and there's a difference for this one that I can't remember, but go to the description, read the little bit I direct you to. But the bottom line is, if you've only got one, it still works and it will still bond and it doesn't matter. So if in doubt, you could just buy the dark one, or if you're a professional detailer doing lots of different cars and you just want one, you could go with the dark or the light, really. It doesn't matter. But I think we'll go with the light one because the car is a lighter kind of finish, and we'll put that on at the end, and that will, you know, that's ideal for the customer because he wants to buff on the car. You know, he's going to be polishing it, he's going to be re-waxing it, pampering the car. We are going to be coating the alloy wheels, which you don't pamper so much because these are satin as well, so you can't do much with these, can you?
Yeah, we're doing the calipers as well on this one.
Yeah, so these are a satin painted finish, and you know, you're not going to be polishing these, so you want to protect them, don't curb them. Yeah. And having the caliper coated as well makes it easier. You get a lot of the, you blast them down and the dirt comes off when you're washing it.
I mean, the plan is we're going to take these off, deep clean them, and then, yeah, we're going to do the fronts and the backs. The calipers are going to be coated at the same time. We're going to let them cure. He's also requested that we put some cool Hyundai mud flaps on, so we're going to do that at the same time.
Brilliant. So at the moment, we're just going to take the car up, get it ready for machine polishing, and then away we go. So it's good stuff, guys. I'll flip over to the next video where we'll talk about the polishing process. Okay guys, so before we machine polish this, we're just gonna, even though it's brand spanking new and the paintwork feels silky and soft, we're just gonna give it a very light clay bar just to get anything that's stuck onto the paintwork off of it. And there'll always be a little bit. So we're just using the clay lube there, which is going to help reduce any marring. We'll just go over the car really quickly, just make sure we pick up any little bits that we don't want to polish. It's all smooth. And if there's nothing on that bit, that's usually the worst bit. So we'll work our way around the car. Let's do this top piece. This shouldn't take long. Get that little recess. There's nothing on this. There we go. We'll do that on every single panel. Okay. Okay guys, so we're ready to start machine polishing. We've gone over the car with a cleaner just to make sure each panel is squeaky clean. There might be some, you never know, there might have been some protection put down from the dealership, so that's just a precaution. What we're going to do is we're going to use reasonably soft pad. So this is a Shoal Concept pad that's soft. It's not going to introduce any machine marring. If we use the high cut pad when we're trying to really finish out the paint, you can introduce machine marring and then have to finish out your own machine marring, and you're just removing material that doesn't need to be removed. We can't find any swirls on this car, which is great. So really this is all about finishing it. If I had my gloss meter here, this paint looks good already on camera, but what we're probably going to do is raise the gloss by a few units, and we're also going to raise the R-spec. That would be our aim, is to cap out the R-spec and gloss so they match each other. So every panel on this car is basically going to get a really good set of polishing. We've cleared off the overspray paint from here, which is great. But we noticed, so this has been painted, we noticed a bit of distortion here. Can you see there? All right, it's probably hard to see on camera, but we noticed a little bit of distortion there and along this top panel. So we wonder if this is refinished because it's been dropped, or something, and we'll tell the customer about it, but it's probably not it's not bad enough to worry about. But if you're a perfectionist, it's better to know, isn't it? And you see the light, there is a bit of distortion there, like that plastic's moved. So something's happened to the front of that, but it's not the end of the world. So what is the process that we're going to use? Well, we're going to be using a Wax is Dead polish. You can't buy this polish at the moment, guys, but it will be coming soon. And this polish, it's a finishing polish, so you can take out fine swirls with it, but it's not. It's a finisher rather than a cutter. There's going to be cutting compounds in the range, but what this does is it leaves a layer of primer that you can actually use to put a coating on top of if you want to, or a wax on top of if you want to, or you could just leave it. You know, you could just buff the compound and leave it, and it will add some protection. So that's quite a cool product because nothing like that exists. So I've been talking to the guys about this for a while. But if you can have a product that can do all three, primer for waxes or coatings, standalone protection and polish the car, and you don't need to panel wipe prep it afterwards, that saves time and it does everything you need. So that could be a stonker. So that's what we're going to be using on this product. I'm going to demo it right now. So let's give this a good shake. It's an emulsion. So, and it doesn't dust, which is nice. So we just put 4 squirts of this on there, the pad. Never do this with one hand. It's a bone dry pad, so Mike, can I give you the camera? So let's demo this on this piece here. Never do live. So it's the same as any other product, guys. You just dab it out. So we'll break this bonnet down to 9 sections. I'll go up to that swage line there. We'll just work that in at speed 1, and it'll prime up the pad as well. Then we'll put it up to about speed 4 or something like that. We're just going to do a very slow polishing set. that is long enough. Right. And actually, do you want to come in round here, Mike? Because I really like to show the buff. Let me take the camera off you. So the buff is important. So you can see just there the polish residue and the trails. It just comes off. Really nice. There's no chalkiness to it, which is what you want from a finishing polish. Especially, this is nice paint, isn't it? I mean, this paint, you don't have to tread carefully, but sometimes you get these aftermarket paints that come in, and when you buff on them, especially when they're black and you can see everything, even like wiping the polish off can scratch some paints. So just being able to just plop the cloth down, put no pressure, and just wipe over it really gently, and you haven't got any polish in the edges or anything like that, so you know you've really got good finish.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. And that, feel it.
Yeah, super slick, soft.
Yeah, so that now, that section is done, and what we've got to do is repeat our way around the car. We use the Mini as well on the bumpers and stuff like that. We'll put a time lapse on. We'll probably have to bust out the Nano for the little bits. Well, there's not too many awkward bits on this car. That you can do with the 3. Probably under here, you might need the Nano. Under the doors, the door handles, around some of the intricate areas. The roof is one area that's going to need a really good polish. Even though it looks pretty good, you can see a bit more texture in the roof. We'll probably find the odd scratch there where we might just need to polish that a little bit more. But this should be a relatively simple job. With 2 of us on there, we'll get it done in a day, won't we? Customers coming to pick it up tomorrow morning, so we've got to get cracking on. Okay guys, so the Fusso Wax is going on. There is no magic to this. Just going to load up a little bit on the applicator. Just make sure I've got no dry bits on the applicator. There we go. Take it over to the car. We'll work from the middle outwards. And I'll follow that thing Soft 99 say about just going in straight lines. So we put a thin layer on, and then we'll do just like a cross-hatch layer. So most of the wax is over here at the start, so. Yeah, let's pick up a little wax, just work it around there we go. Down there, and then we'll just go across, and that will thin out even more, so we don't have big troughs of wax. Get a good edge there. Okay, let's make sure we got right the way up to the edge. There we go. So that's half a bonnet done. That's going to haze out. Let's just make sure I've got that channel all in there. If you miss a bit, it's not going to be protected. With 2 hands. Okay, we'll go the other way. Get right up to the edge. And that, let's make sure we've got all the edge. Yeah. That is the bonnet done. We're going to give that like 10 minutes to haze, and then we'll buff it, and then it's going to sit in this car overnight. Sit in the booth overnight here. So it'll be all fully done. I'll show you the buff, but I'm going to just carry on. I'll do the wings and bumper while the bonnet's curing. Okay, so the wax has been on for about 10 minutes, guys. So what you want is that dry cure, which you can see there, but you don't want a big thick layer of it, which is good. So then when you buff it, it shouldn't be that much work. Because, see where there's, it's hard to film on camera, but wherever you get build-up of the wax, that's going to need a little bit more buffing. So if you can get a thinner layer, it's just easier to buff. You should really just give it a little buff in gentle circles as well. This is just like the icing on the cake. And I will go through, once I've buffed the entire car, I'll go back round with a fresh microfiber towel and just do one more final buff, because it is very easy when you're waxing a car to leave little bits of wax. And we want this to look absolutely spot on with no little smears or anything like that. So that half is looking good, and we'll get a light on it as well and get it out in daylight, because believe it or not, even this studio light is good. Nothing beats the intensity of the sun. So always as well, a good little tip is just on that first buff, get that edge right round there, get that edge right the way down there on that panel. I'm going to work panel by panel. There's an example of a thick layer. So where I put, that's a thick footprint of wax. Just focus. Focus. There. So if I try and buff that up, it ain't that bad, John. But where you get the thick layers, that's where it gets harder to buff. So that's where you've got to be careful. And a nice cloth. This cloth is nice and soft, but it's, you know, it's just doing the job good. So there was a little bit there that was an example where I needed to just give it a little bit of more of a buff. So let's see. Oh, look, there's an example. There's an example of me missing a bit. You need the light, but I've missed a bit there, you see. Especially on this blue, it's hard to spot. So yeah, you just got to be careful. And maybe get someone else. Like, once I've waxed and polished, you know, and buffed all this, we'll get it out into the light, and I'll just get Mike to eyeball it and go round another pair of eyes. So it's good. So you get the idea, guys. So I'm now going to buff the wing, the front bumper, and the other wing. And then I'll apply it to the sides. I'll probably wait 10 minutes for the sides, apply it to the roof and the bumper, wait. You could do the whole car if you like, but I just work in section by section. Okay, I'll be back. Camera's rolling. No squaring.
That's the other way. Does it go there? So 3. That's the front of the minute. This one here, 2. So she is this. What are these ones? They look like rear, if it's got 3 fixing points. Is that right? I'm not not doing any, if I'm not drill holes, I'm not doing it. Front out.
Okay guys, the car is finished. We've run out of time for today. Me and Martin are coming back in tomorrow to meet the customer. I've buffed this down 3 times to make sure there's no wax on it. And then I'll get here early in the morning. The wheels have been ceramic coated. It's all been done. It is possible to do a car in a day. Only just. We think he's going to be really happy with this. The paintwork is now, well, it was looking good before, but now it's protected. It's had a really good, thorough finishing polish on it, and now the Fusso Wax, and it's going to stay protected. Every few months, put that Fusso booster on it just to keep the hydrophobicity going, and the car will be lovely. Really liked it actually. It's been good fun polishing it, hasn't it, Mike? You've enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was fun.
What was the best bit of the day?
Oh, mud flaps.
Mud flaps. We fitted some mud flaps, which was, well, it was okay. They've gone all right. So there we go. Don't forget to subscribe to the Forensics Detailing channel for more cool stuff. Really like this car, actually. Really impressed with it. Looks good. Over and out, guys. Take care.